Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. This is your Manchester United versus FCSB Europa League preview. It's the last game in the Europa League. That's how the table looks at the moment. It's potentially precarious. Manchester United heading to Romania, Bucharest. Let's hope they're not going to be sucking the blood out of our Europa League campaign. It looks good. It looks good, and we'll look at the team in a minute, but actually, that could be deceptive because even though we're in fourth place, top 8 is automatically going to go through to the knockout stage. Outside the top 8, you'd play a qualifier. We're definitely going to get something out of that. But the concerning thing is, just before we start, is that if we were to lose, we'd stay on 15 points. Well, Lyon, Tottenham, Anderlecht, FCSB would have beaten us, so they'd be above us. Lyon, Tottenham, Anderlecht all have winnable games as well. So that would put us down to 8th if we lose. And then the interesting thing as well is that there are teams below Galatasaray, Bodo Glimt, and potentially even Olympiacos and Plzen. If they won, they could surpass our goal difference and our points, and we could end up down as low as 8th, as 9th, 10th or 11th as well. So it is a possibility that if we were to lose this game, that we could drop out completely. So we do need to bear that in mind. The positive is that looking at FCSB, everybody they've played in the Europa League so far is 12th or below. The highest team they've played is Olympiacos. So, and Rangers beat them, I think, 3 or 4-0 at their place. So as well as they've done okay, I think that we should be in a position where we win this game. And I say that with the fact that if you'd asked me a week ago, I'd have said there's no guarantees with Manchester United. But the way that we've played against Fulham and defended well, and the way that we played against Rangers and got a good performance, I would expect us, even though it's away, to have a performance here. Now, FCSB, I don't know much about them. I'm sure you don't. I'm not going to spend too much time analysing them because we should be able to go there and not get beat. And if we don't get beat, we qualify in the top 8 and we prevent ourselves having to play 2 qualifiers. And the big thing we need to say about the Europa League is that we need to win this. This would be £80 million of pure profit revenue in our pocket for next season. It would be massively helpful. These sort of things can be the difference between potentially winning a Premier League in 5 years or 10. Getting in the Champions League this May would be massive for this football club in relation to pure profit money coming in, guaranteed, and putting United back where it needs to be. I think I've said this for a while, some of you agree, we need to massively start putting the Europa League as our number 1 target. I know we're in the FA Cup, and I know the Premier League, we want to climb it, but look, Fulham are 10th. We beat them and we're still 4 points off getting in even mid-table. Premier League's important, it's your bread and butter, but the Europa League is the priority. We've got to gradually grow into this tournament. And look, I'm like you. Let's just get to the final and play that game. It's like the Super Bowl. Let's just win that. And that's why finishing in the top 8 is great, because you just take away 2 qualifying games that could potentially be a problem. So it's really important that we get something against FCSB, and it's really important that we take... I would say that the bigger game to win this week out of this and Crystal Palace at home on Sunday is this. Get this one. That's 2 games out the way that we don't have to play. And also, another way of looking at it is you've got teams like Chelsea and Newcastle, Man City, Forest, Bournemouth, all fighting for top 4 or maybe 5 to get in the Champions League and how lucrative that is. And you've got teams like Aston Villa who want to get in, and you've got Chelsea maybe looking at buying Duran because it's so important that they get Champions League football. And we're looking at the table and we're going, oh, that would be great if that was us. It is us. The only difference is, instead of trying to get top 4 or 5, we win this trophy, we get this. We actually get more. If Chelsea get 4th place and we win the Europa League, technically we've had a better season because we both qualify for the Champions League, yabba dabba do, but we hold up a European Cup, Europa League as well. So it's massive. It's really important for us. Really, really important. And we have to get that into our head. The Europa League is almost make or break for Manchester United. And the thing that worries me is if we don't get into the Champions League through the Europa League this year, we won't even be in the Europa League next year. So we'd absolutely have to get top 4 or 5 next year to get into the Champions League, which I don't see us doing next year. So this is really important. Really, really important. How would I line up in this game? Well, look, I think Bienda's got to go in goal. I don't know what Maguire's doing sat on his head, but it's getting a piggyback. But the point is, Binder needs to play in goal. I don't think Onana did anything wrong against Fulham. I don't think he really had a lot to do. But some would say he'd be lucky to play in that game. Binder has shown in the game against Arsenal and the game against Rangers that he's worthy of being at least cup goalkeeper. And although this is a big game, I think he deserves that opportunity. So I'd put Binder in goal. De Ligt, Maguire and Martinez play for me. Obviously, there might be a bit of rotation with Yoro because of fitness issues with players. I don't know that. But really, I'm going strong. I don't want any silly mistakes. I don't want any deflections. I don't want anything silly to happen. And not that that would happen with Yoro, but what I'm saying is pick your strongest defence. Build on a clean sheet, you don't lose. A draw, we qualify in the top 8. Don't even need to win the game, but we certainly can't afford to lose it. So you've got to have a strong defence. Dalot will play at left back, of course, because he missed the game recently, didn't he? So Mazraoui's the better player to have a rest. He might put Mazraoui where Ahmad is, to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, and he might go with Ugarte and Bruno in the midfield again. I just think Ahmad off the right makes us a better team, and I think he's better from the right, and then that means you can put Bruno next to Garnacho, put Xerxes up front, and then obviously it gives a chance for Mainu to play again in the midfield because I think he's sort of been on the periphery a little bit recently and deserves a start. And I think that team sort of then picks itself. And I'd like to see Ahmad on the right. It means Mazraoui might not be able to play, but you could play Mazraoui where De Ligt is and give De Ligt a rest. I mean, obviously he's had a bit of a knock recently, but as long as it's those 11 players and maybe one comes out for Mazraoui, I'm happy. I think that's the team to go with. Let's go strong. I'm fully aware that we've got Crystal Palace on Sunday, and I'm fully aware that they don't play in Europe and they're doing very well at the moment. And they'll come to Old Trafford and they'll be energetic, and like every other bloody team, they'll come and have a go, and it will be difficult. But at the end of the day, what's more important? Beating Crystal Palace or not having to play a qualifier in the Europa League and saving ourselves 2 games in February? I think that this is the priority, and we've got to start getting into that mindset, in my opinion. Do I think we'll win it? I've got absolutely no doubt that we should. I can't give you an insider information into FCSB because formerly Steaua Bucharest, by the way. I mean that's a name I would more recognise growing up. European Cup winners, I think, actually, but they're obviously not a bad side. I mean, they're in the top 8 themselves. They've had some good results, but they are a side that Manchester United, on paper, should be brushing aside. I'm sure it'll be a good atmosphere. I'm looking forward to it. I think that finally this new format of this massive league table actually finally has some jeopardy about it, and it will be very interesting, I admit, while we're playing our game, to be looking at that league table, especially if we are struggling and you're looking at that league table and we're dropping down it. But look, I think we'll get the job done. And I don't expect Ruben Amorim to get Man United playing like Sporting anytime soon. I'd be stunned if he did, because you can't polish a turd. So results like Fulham are going to be better than results like, Brighton. So if we can just get the result and move on and keep building, that would be great. We know we've got Dorgu coming in. Obviously, he's not going to play in this game. And for me, it's about, can we grow in the latter half of the season into a better team than we are now and give ourselves a shout at winning this tournament? And if we can, happy days. Because from where we are at the moment, as much as I've said I think we'll win the Europa League, that is a projective hope. There is nothing to suggest we can do that. I just believe we will get better. And maybe people like Mason Mount will come back, and Luke Shaw will come back, and Toby Collier will keep progressing, and Dorgu will come in and give us balance, and we will just gradually, and Xerxes and maybe even Rasmus will start getting some service and scoring goals, and Garnacho will stay and get better and better, and Ahmad will continue to have his season, and we'll just gradually get better enough that we can do what we know we can do on our day, beat teams. So that's what I'm hoping for. But this is a priority for us now. Get your comments in below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Smash a like on the video and subscribe. And is the Europa League now the priority? Surely it is. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the team. And are you confident that we will end up in the top 8 come Thursday evening? Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all in a bit.